them, they can navigate themselves around that quite easily.
Absolutely, and this is the LC40 Elite coming up to the grid, and we'll be lining up for their restart after the red flag. So we'll be back green once again very shortly to open their first race of the season, first race of the day. And yeah, we're back, round 1, round 2 here in Lydd for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships, the road to MotoGP, and of course official partner to the BSB, which I'm sure where the majority of these guys will be hoping on being in about 10-15 years time, especially these guys in the LC40s. And of course these guys are well versed on the bikes, and they'll be used to each other, and they'll know where you can and can't pass. But Lydd, as I said, a very tricky circuit, all about picking the right place to get the move done, perhaps down into the tight hairpins in the infield section towards the end of the lap for these guys on the LC40s. But Trystan, when it comes to overtaking, obviously, is it better to keep the race going, perhaps make it later in the race so you can't get chased down, or do we see it earlier in the session?
Well, it's very subjective. We see these guys go through the first complex of corners for the first time. We are back underway here with these guys completing their first lap again. So back underway here for the LC40 Elite. Looking like we've got a breakaway lead already, Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Bannister, who took pole position by 0.7 of a second, already starting to make moves on the circuit. In fact, Josh Williams going with him in second place at number 78. So, yeah, hopefully, I'm sure, Josh Bannister will be looking at breaking away a little bit more. Of course, he was very quick in qualifying indeed. Joshua Williams started on the front row of the grid alongside him in second, and he'll be looking at trying to close in using some extra race pace compared to qualifying. But you can see across the line, it's a 0.5 of a second gap that's just extended a little bit more than that for Josh Bannister. So, yeah, already starting to make that breakaway that we were expecting. Yeah,
you can see Josh Williams pushing really hard to try and go with Josh Bannister, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Charlie Huntingford, it looks like we now is up into second place, and Archie O'Brien in third. So yeah, we should have some brilliant racing at the end for these guys. Just edging that gap out more and more is Josh Bannister already.
Yeah, absolutely, up to 1.2 seconds. Last lap was a 57.392, so he was over 0.6 of a second faster than any of the other riders out on circuit. So yeah, Charlie Huntingford now in second place with Archie O'Brien moving up into third. Josh Williams has dropped from second all the way back down to fifth, so obviously a mistake made by the rider on the previous lap, and that's allowed Charlie up into second place. Archie doing well up into third. Warwick Brady's in fourth. Josh Williams now back down to fifth. Ryan Hitchcock in sixth, with Marco Holt now moving up into sixth position, as we've seen Ryan Hitchcock now dropping down a few positions, so Ryan now falling down through the order. Josh Bannister once again extending that lead, 1.8 seconds.
Yeah, brilliant lead considering we're only 2 laps in, 6 laps still to go for these guys, so I don't think anyone quite has a chance of catching Josh in this one. But it looks like we're going to see a brilliant battle brewing up for second spot. Charlie Huntingford just leading the number 99 of Warwick Brady at the moment as they head down into the infield complex.
Yeah, absolutely, and the battle's still going on, fourth and fifth between Josh Williams and Archie O'Brien. Josh looking to regain some time in places that he lost after dropping out of second place, and
doing a good job of it.
Move done. Yeah, in very nice tight apex, they managed to get the move done, but it's Josh that comes across the line. Josh Bannister that comes across the line, and it's now 2.5 second lead. He's just extending it about almost 0.7 of a second per lap at the moment. He's maintaining that pace that we saw in qualifying. We've got a great battle now going on for second, third and fourth, with Josh starting to he's perhaps on the warpath, trying to close back in on that second place.
Absolutely, yeah, he'll be looking to make up as many positions as possible, and he's doing a really good job of doing that. His best lap at the moment at 56.9, which in traffic and climbing through the field is a very good job from him.
Yeah, absolutely, as you can see. Josh Bannister now coming into the hairpin section in the infield. Behind him, we've got Charlie Huntingford being closed in by Warwick Brady, and Warwick looking at picking up a second place. You can see Charlie going a little bit wide on the exit of the second hairpin, and that's going to allow Warwick just that eye in to see where his your fellow rivals making maybe a few errors, a few small mistakes, but Josh Bannister, the gap comes across the line. It's 2.5 seconds, so it's been held actually. So Charlie starting to to match that pace of Josh. Perhaps Josh made a slight error on that last lap. You can see the last laps were a 1/10 of a second gap between first and second, so Josh slightly slow, and obviously a 2.5 second lead he's got with only a few laps left to go. We've got 4 laps left to go. Is that just taking your foot off the gas a little bit and perhaps just kind of getting back into that rhythm, or is he maybe a slight mistake that caused him to maybe cost him around 7-8 tenths of a second?
He'll definitely be managing that lead at the moment. He won't want to push too hard because he's got a nice healthy lead now, but he's definitely still not hanging about. His best lap was a 55.7 and he set a 56 flat on that last lap, so if anything it's more Charlie Huntingford's more matching his pace now. Only a 10th off the pace of Josh Bannister, but I think it's a little bit too much of a tall order to see Charlie closing Josh down. He's just going to have to worry about Warwick Brady behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Warwick is he's fallen back a little bit, it seems, over the last lap and a half or so. So that gap was only a couple of tenths between the two. It's now fallen down to around about, well, it's almost just over a second. So Warwick maybe making a slight error, and it's cost him potentially that chance of fighting for second place. Behind Archie O'Brien is in 4th place, Marco Holt in 5th. Holly Harris moving up into 6th position, so she's had a great race to start with so far. She's made up several positions, so yeah, great start to the season for Holly, and it's all about picking up points, especially in this early part of the season, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, a lot of these riders, they're in it for the long haul, they're in it for the full season, so to be picking up points now is a good way to start your season off. Yeah,
absolutely, and we're coming up to 2 laps to go here for the LC40 Elite, round 1, race 1 of the 2020 season of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships here from Lydd in the southeast of England, and it is Josh Bannister that's now dropped out of the lead. In fact, he must have made a mistake because he's gone down. He had a dreadful last lap. He's what, 5-6 seconds slower, so Josh now dropped down into second. That's promoted Charlie up into the lead of the race.
Yeah, something must have happened to Josh Bannister there. Very unfortunate for him, as he was doing really well. We were saying that he was controlling the lead at the front there, but perhaps pushing a little bit too hard to have dropped back now into second. Only 0.8 behind Charlie Huntingford though, so he could bring it back.
Yeah, so mistake for Josh there, drops him out of what was a comfortable lead. So yeah, he's only now got what is going to be about a lap and a third to get the move back done for the lead of this race. So yeah, it's unfortunately so late in the race he made that mistake, and yeah, Josh unfortunately is Josh now falling down to 3rd on circuit as well, according to our timing screen. So yeah, it's
looking like Josh is out of this race, I think.
Yeah, so that's disaster. You can see, yeah, you can see Josh falling through the order according to our timing screen. So disaster after what was a pretty comfortable lead. And you can see here is Charlie Huntingford that's in the lead of this race. Warwick Brady in 2nd position, Archie O'Brien in 3rd, Marco Holt up to 4th, and that promotes Holly Harris up into 5th.
Warwick Brady looking like he wants to win this one. He's getting very close up behind Charlie Huntingford now, so we could very well see a battle for this lead on this final lap now. Just a few corners to go as they head into the final complex. I think it's going to be Charlie Huntingford that takes it. Warwick Brady's not close enough. There's not enough passing opportunities there for these guys, and that is Charlie Huntingford coming across the line and takes the first win of this season for the Junior LC40 Elite. So that's Charlie Huntingford from Warwick Brady, the number 99. Archie O'Brien takes 3rd spot, the number 91, just ahead of Marco Holt, the number 58. Holly Harris rounds out your top 5, the number 15. Great result for Holly there, as we just await 6th place to come over the line.
Yeah, Keaton Payne, or Thori Trevor will be in 6th. Keaton Payne in 7th, Josh Bannister and Josh Williams, the 2 guys that started on the front row of the grid, down in 8th and 9th position. So disaster for the guys on the front row of the grid. Obviously some sort of issue with the bike has cost them, because Josh Bannister was leading by a comfortable margin. Unfortunately for him, he's lost himself out of the win of that race.
So it will be very interesting to see how these guys fare with these machines.
Yeah, absolutely so. And so you can see everyone's starting to file into position on the grid, getting ready to start race 2 of the day, the LC40 Elite class, and it's going to be A pretty thirsty start for everyone. Everyone trying to find a position into turn 1. Very quick first 2 corners, and on exit you can get a run into turn 4. The guys waiting, looking at the lights as the lights pours out and underway, and there's this good start from the pole sitter, and it looks as though Josh Bannister holds on to the lead into turn 1 behind everyone through turn 1, 2, 3, all safely. So we're racing underway and we're all good, and yeah, it's a good start there from the pole man.
Yeah, brilliant start from Josh Bannister. Josh Williams now unfortunately also had a DNF earlier today, but is right on the back wheel of Josh Bannister at the moment, so it could be exciting to see what happens with him. So yeah, brilliant start for all of these guys as they head on to the back straight for the first time.
Absolutely, as Josh Bannister starting to already build a bit of a lead. You can see the gap down the back straight around about half a second as they come into the infield hairpin section, and the driver with the white helmet is leading the field away and doing a great job to open up. So it's going to be, you can see across the line, he's going to have a pretty sizable gap, and I'm sure he'll be delighted with that. Comes across the line and into turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3 in quick succession behind. You can see it's a good exit. I believe that was for Warwick Brady, perhaps looking at passing Archie Gibbs for 6th place. He was alongside on the exit turn 3. We'll see if that filters out into position when they come around, but yeah, we can see Sam Munson now up into 2nd, Josh Williams in 3rd, Charlie Huntingford, race 1's winner, still in 4th place.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from these guys. You see Archie Gibbs further back there with the fluorescent yellow flashes on the bike, but now Munson coming under a bit of trouble now, 3 abreast, going down the back straight into the infield section. Some brilliant racing from these guys, Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely. As Sam Munson, otherwise known as the Bunsen burner, let's see if he can turn up the heat as he goes into the next lap. We've got 8 laps left to go as they come across the line, make it 7, and it is still Josh Bannister. Ryan Hitchcock moves up into 2nd ahead of Sam Munson, so Sam, bit of work to do behind Josh Williams and Charlie Huntingford battling out over that 4th place. Warwick Brady now up into 6th, Archie Gibbs now down to 7th, Marco Holt and Luke Fitchett here in 8th and 9th. Archie O'Brien rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Ryan Hitchcock. Coming from a bit further back on the grid was Ryan, and made his way all the way up into 2nd place now, and looks like he's slightly closing in on Josh Bannister. His last lap was 0.3 of a second quicker, so it'll be interesting to see with Hitchcock on the charge whether he can catch Bannister.
Yeah, Josh Bannister not running away with it in this one, of course. What's that? About 0.8 of a second gap. We'll see if that closes in at the end of this lap, and we're coming up to 6 laps left to go, so plenty of time for Ryan Hitchcock to close in.
The gap is now down to 0.3, so Ryan Hitchcock very much now on the back of Josh Bannister. You can see how close they are on circuit, back with Josh Bannister there just leading from Ryan Hitchcock. Sammy Munson still doing well to hold on to 3rd place ahead of Josh Williams. Battle for 3rd is something we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. That's hotting up quite nicely.
You can see Ryan Hitchcock and Josh Bannister starting to make a breakaway now. They've got almost a 2.5 second lead over the chasing pack with 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th there as they come into the infield hairpin section. But yeah, it is Ryan Hitchcock really starting to put the pressure now on Josh Bannister. So Josh is he's going to have to get a move on, because Ryan's looking very racy indeed behind him, and he's getting right up close behind the leader at the moment. And Josh so far hasn't had too much trouble, but Ryan really starting to put the pressure on.
Yeah, Ryan definitely. It'll be very interesting to see what happens if Ryan can get past Josh, to see if Josh can go with him, because we've seen how quick Josh can be. Obviously the pole man almost ran away with it earlier until he DNF'd. But yeah, for the pace that Ryan Hitchcock has, be interesting to see if Josh Bannister can go with it. You watch Ryan Hitchcock down into the infield down the back straight. He uses every inch of the circuit. If you watch him now, he'll go right across onto the white line. You see using every inch of the tarmac there as he tips in. So possibly could be an overtaking move for him later in the race.
Yeah, as you said earlier, these riders just using the early stages of the race just to shape up the rider in front. And you can see, although on the exit of that one, it looks as though Josh Bannister's just edged a little bit of a gap, so possibly a slower exit to that lap for Ryan Hitchcock behind.
Well, I think Josh Bannister's has definitely turned the heat up, because he's done the fastest lap of the race now with a 54.8, a good 0.3 of a second faster than Hitchcock now. So Josh Bannister could hear Ryan Hitchcock behind him and has just turned up the pace now. So that answers our question whether Josh Bannister can match Ryan Hitchcock's pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Ryan's job is now to go with him and try and close in. It was half a second gap, but behind they are just pulling away from Samuel Munson in third place, who's doing a great job to fend off from Josh Williams and Charlie Huntingford, who are closing in, and equally behind Warwick Brady and Archie Gibbs aren't too far off away. So we're coming up to 3 laps left to go in this LC40 Elite class, and it's race 2 of the day for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships from here in Lydd. First round of 2 this weekend, and you can see it is Josh Bannister that just about leading. In fact, he's extending that lead now. It's over a second he's got between himself and Ryan, so perhaps got a little bit of a hurry up, realising that he was being closed in on. Yeah,
Josh Bannister's definitely pulled the pin now. Another 54 from him, the only rider in the 54s in this race. So yeah, brilliant stuff from him, and faster than his pole time, which is extremely impressive. It's edged the gap now, but right out to a second, when Ryan Hitchcock was right on his back wheel. So to edge it out to a second is showing some brilliant pace with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can still battles going on throughout the field. There's plenty of riders still looking at picking up positions, in fact to the outside, and that's going to give you a good run to the inside there for the number 3, I think that's Archie Gibbs. So Archie Gibbs trying to get a run on Warwick Brady in 6th position. We're coming onto the penultimate lap of the race with Josh Bannister. His lead has just been edged out a little bit there to now 7/10 of a second. So Ryan Hitchcock trying to close in, but laps are definitely not on his side now. So unless we see Josh Bannister make a mistake late in this one, it seems as though the rider that didn't have a particularly positive first round might have a slightly more positive second one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Josh Bannister's doing a really good job to control the pace at the front, but I think both of these guys are pushing each other to the absolute limit. We saw Ryan Hitchcock on that last lap, now into the 54s, as well as Josh Bannister. So yeah, these guys throwing absolutely everything at it, and it's brilliant to see. Samuel Munson also doing a good job in 3rd spot there. I think he's quite safe in 3rd spot. Josh Williams a little bit he's got a little bit of gap in front of Josh Williams, but be interesting to see what happens there as well.
Yep, there's a battle going on for 6th place with Warwick Brady, Archie Gibbs, Archie O'Brien and Marco Holt at the moment. Those guys all within a couple of tenths of a second of each other, so it is close. In fact, the battle at the front has really closed up. Ryan Hitchcock on the last lap has closed into a 1/10 of a second, so not sure what happened to Josh there, because he seemed to have a relatively comfortable 7/10 of a second lead. But there you go, well, almost to the inside. You can see Ryan Hitchcock trying to think about a move onto the inside of the hairpin, and he's really pushing Josh Bannister over this final lap.
So absolutely brilliant stuff from Ryan Hitchcock at the moment. He's trying absolutely everything he can to get past Josh Bannister. They're just coming up to some lap traffic now. Luckily, they've got it on the straight. Nice and easy. Does it again a nice wide line from Ryan Hitchcock, but that's not the line he's going to want to be taking if he wants to get underneath Josh Bannister. Only one more chance to get underneath him into the final corner, but I don't think he can do it, although he's having a look. But I think it's Josh Bannister who's going to take this win, and Josh Bannister takes the win from Ryan Hitchcock. Both these guys pushing each other to the absolute limit. Brilliant stuff from both of them, both into the 54s, faster than anyone else on circuit. Samuel Munson it is then that takes 3rd place ahead of Josh Williams in 4th, and Charlie Huntingford rounding out your top 5 then. There is your race leader then, Josh Bannister, enjoying that one, visor open, enjoying the wind. Absolutely basking in the glory that he's just set down. Brilliant stuff after a DNF earlier on this race.
Yeah, absolutely so. And so Josh Bannister is the race winner for race 2 of the Junior LC40 Elite. And yeah, you can see by 0.2 of a second picks it up over Ryan Hitchcock. Samuel Munson holds on to 3rd place. Well done to him. He had to defend that entire time. Josh Williams in 4th. Charlie Huntington, race 1's winner, back in 5th. Archie O'Brien in 6th, with Warwick Brady in 7th. Archie Gibbs in 8th. Marco Holt in 9th, and Luke Fitchett rounding out the top 10. Yeah, the riders are lined up on the grid, ready to go for race 3, their final race of the day in round 1. ready to look up the light. Engine notes rising to send them down to turn 1. It's a good getaway for poleman Josh Bannister. He's looking at picking up a second win of the weekend already, and yeah, he's already got a strong lead and behind everyone away safely.
Yeah, brilliant start for Josh Bannister there on the number 2 bike. Brilliant lead now he's got over Joshua Williams. Another rider to look out for, starting from the back of the grid, who took second place, is Ryan Hitchcock. He made his way right up through the grid and almost took the win from Josh Bannister in race 2. So look out for him climbing up through the order. But at the moment, it is the man at the front, Josh Bannister, who leads over Joshua Williams and Samuel Munson.
Yep, Samuel Munson, who picked up 3rd place in race 2, was looking very racy into the long hairpin at the back end of the circuit and thought about a move into the
I think we're having a change for the lead here, Gareth. That is Joshua Williams, who's taken the lead now from Josh Bannister. A beautiful move heading into the last corner. So coming over to lead lap 1 is Joshua Williams ahead of Josh Bannister.
Yep, as we'll see if Josh Bannister can come back at him, and we'll see up the inside. Is it close enough? Not quite, so he's going to have to follow Joshua Williams around, and behind it looks as though we've still got, in fact, the entire top 5, top 6 are all staying with each other, so incredibly close-knit field to start this race. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. It's always good to see close racing, and especially at this level. So yeah, brilliant to see these guys all battling it out, and expect to see Ryan Hitchcock joining the party at some point as well.
We've got overtake at the back. I believe that was, who was this? Perhaps Archie Gibbs was the rider that got overtaken there. Just check it on the timing screens when it comes up. But yeah, it's Joshua Williams that's after getting to the front, he's already stretched a little bit of a lead out. So this is a strong move here early in the race for Joshua Williams and the LC40 Elite class. And yeah, it's at the moment, once again, we're seeing completely different people at the front of the field.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I mean, Joshua Williams wasn't on the podium in either of the last races, but now he's definitely found something with the setup or something, because he's absolutely flying at the beginning of this race. We're now looking at the number 43. That's Ryan Hitchcock, making his way through the field already up into 6th place there. So expect him to climb through even further. But at the moment, it's Joshua Williams who's absolutely put the hammer down at the front, and he's got a good gap over Bannister now. So it's the 2 Joshes at the front ahead of Samuel Munson.
Yep, and one rider to look out for is the 76 of Charlie Huntingford, the winner of race 1, currently sitting in 4th place, only 1.4 seconds off the race lead, but well within a chance. You can see just how bunched up they are coming down into turn 1. All almost neck and neck there. So yeah, a really good run for Charlie. In fact, drops down a mistake, drops him down to 6th place. You can say they're all bunched up, and everyone just getting squeezed down. Charlie getting dropped down to 6th, and that has promoted, as you were talking about, Hitchcock up into 4th place.
Yeah, and I believe just as we weren't paying attention there, he just moved up into 3rd place now. So that's Ryan Hitchcock now absolutely flying his way through the field. He's right on the back of Samuel Munson now, and then we'll be looking at Josh Williams next.
Yeah, Josh Williams doing a good job at the moment to hold on to this lead and hold on to a slight gap. It's just over a second, but of course Sam Munson in 2nd place will be looking at, well, at the moment he's probably going to be looking behind him, because he is coming right under threat from Ryan Hitchcock, and yeah, Ryan Hitchcock less than a 10th behind him as they come across the line. So Ryan's showing some good pace after picking up a 2nd place in race 2. He's going to look at trying to get past Sam Munson for 2nd and then really close in on Josh Williams.
Absolutely. Well, they've actually quite closed down Williams already. They're right on his back wheel now, so actually quite clever from Hitchcock to sit behind Munson, because now they're right on the back of Josh Williams now. So Hitchcock could be looking for a win here.
Yeah, absolutely so. So Joshua Williams' gap that he was commanding a couple of laps ago has been whittled down, and Sam Munson and Ryan Hitchcock have really closed him in. So this battle will go down to the wire as the laps count down. So we expect to see positions change, because it's going to be really close at the front. You can see just how close it is as they come across the line, and Joshua Williams is going to have his eyes full of bikes around him if he looks behind, because he's got Sam Munson at one side and Ryan Hitchcock the other side, so he's going to get swarmed if he doesn't watch out. And there you go, up the inside does go Sam Munson, and drops Joshua Bannister down to second.
Yeah, Josh Bannister now, his only focus is going to be trying to get back past Sam Munson. He'll know that Munson has caught him up, and he'll be eager to make sure Munson doesn't get away at the front there, but he needs to be wary as well of Ryan Hitchcock, who's on an absolute charge just behind him.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about earlier, with drivers working together in the second and third place to close in on the leader. And they've done it because it looks as though Joshua Williams was starting to check out and move away. And look what's happened. Obviously, Josh has now been pushed down into second and is now coming under threat for that second. As you can see, Ryan Hitchcock really starting to think about making a move on him into the final two corners. And they're going to come across the line, almost line astern. And it is Sam Munson that leads this one by just over 1/10 and a half of a second. Joshua Williams now down into third place. He did get passed by Ryan Hitchcock on the exit of the final corner, so yeah, Hitchcock now up into second.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from Hitchcock. We knew he had the pace to come through. I mean, we said it right at the beginning of the race, and now he's really pushing for that race win. Now you got to feel for Josh Williams a little bit. He's led a lot of this race, and is now being demoted to third place. Just struggling at the end of this race, but these two at the front now really setting a hot pace and really pushing each other to the limit. So it's a matter of time before Ryan Hitchcock has a go at Samuel Munson. Munson going quite defensive there. Hitchcock with the wide line, but he manages to get the drive on him, but unfortunately he's on the outside for the left-hander, so can't quite make it stick. Having another look there, he's right on the back wheel, really trying to make a move stick here is Ryan Hitchcock.
Yeah, arm-to-arm contact between the leading pair.
And he's ahead, Ryan Hitchcock is ahead, and he's doing a celebratory wheelie as they come across the start-finish. Race isn't over yet though, Ryan.
Absolutely not. Superb move, and you can see, does Sam go down the inside?
Brilliant
he gets
move.
A fantastic move there on the exit of turn 4 into turn 5. And is this going to give Ryan another run up into the long hairpin at the back of the circuit? He doesn't quite get alongside, but he's going to try and pull into the toe and shape him up for the hairpins later in the lap. But these two trading positions and really battling over what is looking to be the race win, because Joshua Williams has fallen back. But yeah, Sam Munson doing a great job there to get back past.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from Sam. He has a little bit of a moment there, almost loses it, almost allows Ryan Hitchcock back through, but just about manages to save it. Looking very menacing is Hitchcock, as always. But yeah, excellent job from both of these guys, as Hitchcock managed to go round the outside of the last corner, again a wheelie as they come across the line to start the final lap of this race for the LC40 Elite.
What a move to navigate traffic there. One round the inside, one round the outside, and neither of them lost any time whatsoever. You've got to think these riders they're not that experienced. They've only been in it for a few years, and just to have the knowable and the whereabouts to keep the position and hold on to the speed and pace is phenomenal. So yeah, hats off, because this is going right down to the wire. We're on the last lap. We've got a lead battle, and Joshua Williams is trying his hardest to get involved in it, but it's going to go right down to the wire between Hitchcock, Munson and Williams.
Yeah, Williams right on the back of them now, but I'm not sure there isn't enough corners for him to make a move for the win. Ryan Hitchcock, is he going to go for that round the outside move at the last corner, as we've seen him do so many times? No, he can't quite make it stick, and it's a drag to the line, but it is Samuel Munson that takes the win from Ryan Hitchcock's, and Joshua Williams, who just gets third place there. Yeah, very close race there.
Oh, mega race there. A huge congratulations to Sam the Bunsen Burner Munson, and he picks up third in race 2, but it's a first victory in race 3, and he had to work for that one. And yeah, what a race we've just seen in the LC40 Elite class. And yeah, the drivers arms up to each other and in congratulate, because that was a hard race for the top 3.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible from all 3 riders there. Absolutely brilliant stuff. But there it is, confirmed. Samuel Munson it was that took the win from Ryan Hitchcock, and Joshua Williams in third place there. Warwick Brady took 4th place ahead of O'Brien in 5th. Bannister dropped down to 6th place, perhaps some more issues for him, ahead of Luke Fitchett, Charlie Huntingford, Holt and Trevorrow round out your top 10.